My 8th grade English teacher once told me that Gen Z will be the revolution. We'll be the ones to change the world. The thing that prompted her into saying this was our several questions about the project she had given us. She'd given us the challenge, what is your legacy? Identify your legacy. What will the next generation remember you for? What will the 2020 pandemic be remembered for? The 2020 pandemic will be remembered for all of its chaos and pain it caused across the country. It's been 176 days since the beginning of 2020. Many will say this world has been turned upside down. Others will say the country has lost its way. A lot will say this country needs a new beginning after all this chaos. We've stayed inside, we've given up our social lives, but it's what's needed to stay alive. This year has questioned the very essence of this nation, from unjust murders to protest, to hugging, to no love at all. But what this country needed was a resurrection, because it's been dead for way too long. 1. For over 400 years, African Americans have been oppressed and ignored. They have stood up to governments on many different occasions. The civil rights movement is a perfect and prime example of this. But we're not taught much about that in school. But that's beside the point. Due to recent events, however, people are hoping and hopeful for lasting change. You may be asking, how does this relate to 2020, the year we needed, or COVID-19? But the coronavirus has allowed almost everything else to be shut down, except for our governments. Coronavirus has allowed mainstream to open up to new things. The Black Lives Matter movement has made so much headway in making laws and regulations that give the power back to the people. The pandemic of 2020 shut down everything from basketball to hockey, but allowed real-world problems to finally be seen. 2. Climate change is a real issue whether you agree with me or not. The world is dying and we are the cause of it. Coronavirus was and is a warning, but did we get it early enough? Turns out we're the real virus. If you take the entire time the Earth has been alive and compress it into 24 hours, the human race has only been here for 5 seconds. We have caused the ozone layer to nearly be destroyed and polar ice caps to basically melt in just 5 seconds. But according to National Geographic, the ozone layer was 25% destroyed, but it has now fully recovered. The coronavirus forced us to be in quarantine to protect ourselves. But while in quarantine, our carbon emissions decreased tremendously. Nobody to drive their cars, nobody to run the factories. The world is healing because of that drastic change in our lives. In the beginning, I shared with you what is a legacy. What will we be remembered for? The pandemic of 2020 will be remembered for all of its chaos and all of the pain it caused. But it should also be remembered for how it helped our country heal in another way that we didn't think was possible. The thing about a legacy is it's really easy to remember the negatives, but you have to work harder to find the positives. And then you question yourself, will your positives outshine all of your negatives? But the coronavirus has given a rebirth to this country, as hard as it may seem. But all of these positives do not make all of the lives we lost to get where we are today any less. It just gives us a piece of hope. It allows peace, justice, reform, and power that will be given to the next generation. It is time for a change, and the pandemic of 2020 shockingly helped us with that. 2020, it's time for a change, and the time is now.